did I go? Where am I? I can't find myself. Oh, there I am. Oh, my word. It took forever for the camera to turn on there. I thought I was never going to be seen again. I was going to cry. Gluten Talk to you as well, Solomon. Welcome to this year's version of Pillow Talk. Yes, Kara fans, assemble. She is currently at home in a sunbeam. She is very happy, and I am happy for her. I'm also jealous, because, like, I wish I was small enough to fit on that little bed and lay in the sun and just sleep. You know? Alrighty, today. We are only a few minutes in, and that is happening. That is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Alright, so this year we are tackling the book of Ruth. Okay. Dia's gonna have to fix this later, but my back needs it. Woo, Ruth, right? Like, it's like, woo, we're doing Ruth. We were gonna do Esther, but I don't have the time or energy to do this during camp. I love you guys. I'll be keeping up my regular streams. I will not be doing this during camp. I don't have the energy. Okay, like, I love you guys, but I don't have the energy. I don't have the energy to do it all. Stop it. Just trying to be dumb. Boop, 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 boop. Ha-ha! There we go. Eat my shorts. Coffee! I have... So, my other one like this broke. It had a crack on the inside and stuff was building up, and then it smelled gross. So, I was at Walmart the other day, and I just so happened... I ended up in the clearance area. Always do. And they had one left. So I grabbed it. You bet I grabbed it fast. It had crack on it. I am not lucky. It sucked. I also have snacks, but I forgot a bowl. I have, they are healthier cheesies. They're white cheddar ones. And they are, I think they're baked, actually. But, like, they're really good. And, they are my, one of my favorite snacks in the entire world. I love them so much. However, I don't like the popcorn version. Because they also have a Smart Food one, and I did not like that one. What I found interesting, though, because I was reading through the ingredients the other night, there's sour cream in this. It's probably what gives it its bit of like a kick. Also, I got more gamer chopsticks because they've disappeared. So, I have some, and when Dia comes to see me later, she's going to get her own pair. All good snacks should come with the potential risk of diabetes. Speaking of that, okay, so I found some new snacks at Walmart. And I wasn't even really looking. They were in like a stand just like near the entrance. And it's a Hostess brand thing. And they had a few different options. They had a s'more one that was like a Joe Louis. And I was like, eh, whatever. Then they had one that was like layer cake with caramel and covered in chocolate. That was good. That was real good. And then they had these brownie ones. And I was like, cool, 2-bite brownies but bigger. No. So my family can have the rest of those because no, I did not enjoy it. The mouthfeel was great. It was the taste that was the problem. It was just like a 2-bite brownie, only it did not taste anything like a 2-bite brownie. It tastes like what I imagine a sugar-free version of a 2-bite brownie would taste like, and that's just not. No. No. I'll have to send you pictures, Solomon. Maybe you can find them. But I know that you, over there, can get things like zebra cakes and the cosmic brownies. We can't get them over here anymore. The zebra cakes were one of my favorite snacks of all time. Even more so after I was diagnosed. Mmm. I like cake. Cake is nummy, 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 nummy in my tummy. Yes, I got lots of snacks. Because all my usual snacks were on sale. So, we did that. And Cara got more food, which she was thrilled. Yeah, I'm tired today. I'm tired. There was a huge pressure shift this morning, like bigger than I've seen in a while. But like, ugh. And the worst thing was, it was a pressure shift down. So my entire body is like not holding itself together anymore. And we don't have another shift back up till normal until Friday, but then we have a lot of it on Saturday. So that'll be fun. There's a happy medium with pressure, okay? Too much pressure and my body is like squished in a vice. Too little pressure and my body is like a gelatinous blob that falls apart. It's quite marvelous. Oh, cosmic brownies. They are my love. They are my life. I could eat an entire thing of those in one day. Like, not even kidding. I could do it no problem and then want more. I really could. Anyway, we should probably jump into Ruth. Yesterday, I prepped Ruth 1 and 2. I would have kept going, but I decided not to push myself too far. But yeah, I did it, and all of my notes are on a little card. But like the writing's little, as you can see, so it's little. Guess whose grocery store is limiting the amount of water I can buy? Only 2 in the middle of a heat wave as well. Even with medical conditions, because I would pull the freaking disability card. I would pull it right out and smack them with things and go, excuse me, I'll hold you liable for my death. I'd do it. I would fully pull out the disability card and be like, I have a medical condition that requires me to have more water. So, no. And if it was like, if they kept saying no, Solomon, I would get wigs, I would get disguises, I would get like, I'd go all out. Like SpongeBob trying to get into, what is it, the salty spittoon. I would do whatever it took to get the water, which is therefore the salty spittoon. I have a cancer card, heart card, mentally questionable card, so many cards. Same! I don't have all the same cards that you have, but like, I've got a bunch of fun cards. I don't pull them out often, because when I pull them out, they all kind of fall out, and then people look at you funny. So I don't. Okay, so here's the thing. As we all know, the Bible has a bunch of wonderful names and places that are fantastic words. So you are going to have to forgive me, because things will get mispronounced. I am doing the very best I can. I took a quick look at the stuff yesterday and went, this will be fun. They're going to be laughing at me. I don't know if you know that, Solomon, but that's actually a swear word in French. It is. That is a swear word. I'm not going to tell you which one, but it is one, and you'll get smacked if you say it. So, don't say it. Okay. So, I put it in the message version because that's just who I am. Alright, we're doing it in the message version because when it comes to Bible studies, what I like to do is go over it in the message version. Here, I have to fix it because it's in NIV. That's not what we wanted. We wanted message. which is exactly what it's showing at the moment. So, I should do my study in King James. I always do it in the message because there's more little bits and pieces. Like, it's worded differently. It's really cool the things you can get out of it. But here's my challenge. As we're going through this, I am challenging you guys, either ahead of time or after, however it works, to read the chapter in a different translation other than the message. See what you can pick out of it. Because it can be really cool. I was hoping that I would be able to go side by side. Maybe, can I still? Add parallel! We can! Which means I can go back like this, because we're not going to get terrifying ads anymore. Yes, there is. My second favorite Ruth after Ruth Bader Ginsburg, former Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. I love her. Mostly because of the name, but also because of things I've heard about her. So, I want you guys to try and read it on your own time, too, without me being involved, because she's pretty ruthless. That ruthless joke is gonna get even cringier and sadder as we go through this book, because I don't know if you've ever read the Book of Ruth before, but like, it's been a while since I've read it as an adult, okay? And it's a little hard-hitting. It's very sad, and it deals heavily with loss, so it fits right into what we've been doing. Ironically, I'm pretty sure it is, we are going to be dealing with the anger part of grief on Friday, and that is also going to pop up in this chapter. The grief part of, the anger part of grief, it will pop up in this chapter. Which I looked at that and I went, okay, God, okay, I see you. I can't watch Bambi as an adult. I can't do it. I love the taste of venison, but I cannot watch that movie because it is so freaking sad. And I don't like it. I don't know. The idea of a child finding their parent gone makes me very sad. Mainly because that actually happened to a friend of mine years ago. Her kid found her. So I don't like Bambi anymore. Bambi's very cute. I'm sure it's a great story. I love the rabbit. However, doesn't bring up great memories for me. So we're gonna dive into this. So, yeah. Go away. I don't want you. In the days when the judges ruled. So basically this is taking place during the Book of Judges, which may or may not be the next one that ARC is doing for Nerds in the Word. I don't know. I have a feeling that could be a really fun one. I suggested either Judges or Job. However, with Job, it's one of those ones where it's like previously on Nerds in the Word. If we're doing Job, whereas Judges not quite as much, but still a little bit. Yeah, Spider-Man does show up. We talked about this earlier. There was a famine in the land. Oh no, how sad. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. So basically, things got really, really bad. They left to find a new life. But they are originally from Bethlehem. Who else do we know that's from Bethlehem? Do we know anyone else from Bethlehem? Correct. Tom Jones is definitely from Bethlehem. The man's name was Elimelech. Let me say that 5 times fast. His wife's name was Naomi. That's a lot easier. And the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Kilion. They were Ephrathites. from Bethlehem, Judah. They went to Moab and lived there. Now Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died. She was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women, one named Orpah. Sorry, I had to do it that way. And the other Ruth. After they had lived there about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion also died. Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. So, the men all died. All she was left with was her daughter-in-laws. Okay? She came from Bethlehem to have a better life and lost everything. They left for something better and things just got worse. Like, oof. Ouch. Eek. Tookie. Like, So, blah, 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 blah. Now we're going to switch over to message. One day she got herself together because grief sucks. And I can imagine it took quite a bit after losing her sons and her husband. Like, female Job here. She got herself together. She and her 2 daughter-in-laws to leave the country of Moab and set out for home. She went, okay, everything sucks here. It was better over there. I'm going back. Because she knew probably very few people. I mean, she's lived there for 10 years, but she's a foreigner. And we all know how foreigners get treated, unfortunately. And it was kind of even worse back then. Like, a lot worse. It doesn't specify how her husband or sons die, but something in me says at least one of them didn't die of old age. Okay? So, she didn't have much. And she was like, I have to go back. I don't have anything else. At least there I know people. At least there I have family. They left everything behind for something better and ended up with something worse. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. Actually, I can. Haha! Here we go. So, I've been on a lot of antidepressants over the years. And some work, some don't. Everybody's different. But there was one that they put me on that actually made things worse. It was supposed to make things better. It made things worse. And I was allergic to it, which made that even worse on top of it making things worse. And it was supposed to be better, and I was miserable. I didn't lose anybody. Nobody died because of it. But I know what it's like to expect something to be better only for it to end up worse. So, she had heard that God had been pleased to visit his people and give them food. Where it says the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, right? And so she started out from the place she had been living, she and her 2 daughter-in-laws with her, on the road back to the land of Judah. Like, I have to wonder if this is in some way a walk of shame. Because you have left, you're like, I'm going somewhere that's better. It's probably similar to how the prodigal son felt. Because they left God's land to go live with foreigners who worshiped different gods, who had different customs. And I mean, I'm sure some people probably wrote them off. So she's probably thinking in her head, maybe there's a couple people who will still help back there. It's better than what I've got here. Like, food banks weren't a thing back then, you guys. Like, government assistance was not a thing back then. She would die if she didn't try and go back and get some help. After a short while on the road, because Naomi's very much in her head about all this, she told her 2 daughters-in-law, go back. Go home, live with your mothers, live with your family. May God treat you as graciously as you treated your deceased husbands and me. May God give each of you a new home and a new husband. She kissed them, which was supposed to be a goodbye, and they cried openly. They both said, no, we're going with you to your people. Naomi was firm. She's kind of stubborn. Go back, my dear daughters. Why would you come with me? Do you suppose I still have sons in my womb who can become your future husbands? Go back, dear daughters, on your way, please. I'm too old to get a husband. Even if I said there's still hope, and right this very night got a man and had sons, can you imagine being satisfied to wait until they were grown? Would you wait that long to be married again? No, dear daughters, this is a bitter pill for me to swallow. More bitter for me than for you. God has dealt me a hard blow. What she's saying here is, I have nothing left to give you. She's saying she has nothing left. I'm sure more physically, emotionally, I'm sure she was at the bottom of her barrel. I'm sure there was very little left in her cup. And she wanted to make sure that they were taken care of, because she knew she couldn't take care of them. But here's what it says over here. This is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has turned against me. And I bet you she believes this is because she left Bethlehem. I bet you she's going over every little piece in her mind. We did a whole study in university on the difference between men and women's minds, how they work, how the thought processes go, and I would be willing to bet that she's going over in her head, why did this happen to me? Thinking of every possible reason, everything she had ever done wrong. Is there something that I didn't submit a sacrifice for? Is there something that I didn't ask for forgiveness for? Did I do this? Is this my fault? And she's probably wondering, if these daughter-in-laws stay with her, are they going to die too? Like, oof. I mean, that's what I'd be thinking if I were in her shoes. And after reading through the book again, she and I are more than a little alike. Again, they cried openly, or but kissed her mother-in-law goodbye. But Ruth embraced her and held on. Naomi said, look, your sister-in-law is going back home to live with her own people and God's. Go with her. But Ruth said, don't force me to leave you. Don't make me go home. Where you go, I go. Where you live, I'll live. Your people are my people. Your God is my God. Where you die, I'll die. And that's where I'll be buried. So help me God, not even death itself is going to come between us. Because she knows what mother-in-law is thinking. She knows that mother-in-law is questioning. Because clearly she knows her mother-in-law. So basically what just happened here, and I wrote this down because I thoroughly enjoyed this little thing that came inside my head. What Ruth is basically saying here is, we are family, which is the name of the stream, in case you didn't notice. That's what went through my head when I was reading this. I was like, that's what she's saying. I made a commitment when I married your husband. I am part of this family. I am not going to leave you. You have no one else. I am not going to leave you. When Naomi saw that Ruth had her heart set on going with her, she gave in. She recognized her daughter-in-law was just as stubborn as she. And so the two of them traveled on together to Bethlehem. For the census of the emperor... No, wait, that's a different book. We're missing the donkey and the pregnancy here for that to be this book, you know? They arrived in Bethlehem. The whole town was soon buzzing. Is this really our Naomi after all this time? Have you ever lived in a small town? Because let me tell you, I have lived in some very, very small towns, and when I say very small towns, I mean like less than 100 people. Um, Gossip seems to be the main form of communication in towns of this size. Every little detail, every little thing that's going on is going to be spread around before you can even think of it. Um, I remember, I don't know how old my sister was, but I want to say maybe 6 or 7. Like she was little, and there were at her school there were some. I don't know if they were protesters doing a demonstration or if it was part of their gym class assignment, but they were talking about the dangers of drinking and driving. And my sister told one of the people that, oh, my daddy drinks and drives all the time. My dad was a town pastor, so that got around real fast. But in her little head, we didn't grow up with alcohol in the house, okay? Like, alcohol did not come into the house till my sister and I brought it in the house as adults. In her mind, like, my dad would be driving and drinking a coffee. That's drinking and driving in her mind. Because she didn't know any different. And because this was a small town, it spread. It went everywhere. And I guarantee you that's what's happening here. It's a small town. Every little bit, like, there's not a whole lot going on. So everybody else's life is the most interesting thing out there. Our TV would get blown out if the wind was too strong that day. So what else are you going to do? There's not a whole lot to do. So gossip is pretty prevalent. And they're going, is this really Naomi? After all this time, the whole town was stirred because of them. The women. I'm not going to perpetuate stereotypes, but gossip's a little more prevalent in one gender than another one. And Naomi probably feels a little overwhelmed. She wasn't expecting this kind of approach. She wasn't expecting this level of, hey, she's back. But I mean, we also don't know the tone of these words, right? So it can literally be an excited tone. This can be an angry tone. This can be a sad tone. Like, maybe there's pity for her. Maybe there's excitement she's back. We don't know what the tone is. But she said, don't call me Naomi, call me bitter. The strong one has dealt me a bitter blow. I left here full of life, and God brought me back with nothing but the clothes on my back. Why would you call me Naomi? God certainly doesn't. The strong one ruined me. Which, I just want to point out, as we can sort of see down here at the bottom, Naomi means pleasant. And she's saying, like, names were really, 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 really important back then, okay? Like, incredibly important. That's why we see God intervening, changing people's names, because names held meaning. Naomi means pleasant. She doesn't feel pleasant anymore, therefore she doesn't fit her name. She needs to have a different name, and she's choosing bitter. She is angry. She is in the anger stage of grief because she has lost everything. She has every right to be angry. Like she said, I left here full of life, and God brought me back with nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's the same idea as Job. God had given him everything, and now he had nothing. He felt some anger. when you have something really good going for you and then it is taken away. There's anger. That is still loss. That is still grief. Losing a job, losing your health, losing a relationship, losing someone to death. That is all still grief. Ruth recognized that she was hurting because her husband was dead. But she also recognized that her mother-in-law had lost a son. She recognized that her mother-in-law had also lost her husband, had lost both of her sons. And she went, I may be grieving, but so is she. And I don't want her to have to go through this alone. And so Naomi was back, and Ruth the foreigner with her, back from the country of Moab. Now, Ruth had to know that coming back to Judah meant she was going to be the foreigner this time instead of her mother-in-law. She had to know what this was going to mean. She had to know she was leaving everything behind. And she did it anyway. She did it out of love. Because she saw someone who needed love. They arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. So, I just want to point out, this is a cliffhanger ending. It's a very cliffhanger ending, because it says they're back. And let me just tell you, even chapter 2 doesn't say anything about where they're living. It doesn't say anything about if they're working. Doesn't say anything about where they're staying. We just know they're back. But then chapter 2 just continues. There's nothing about, oh yeah, they found a house at a really great price over here. Or their house had not been occupied, but it had been 10 years. I have to imagine either the house was not still standing or it was being occupado. Like, I have to imagine that's what's going on. So where are they staying? At least in Moab, they had a house. At least in Moab, they had somewhere to lay their heads at night. We have no idea where they are. But Naomi knew that things would likely be better here than they were where she was. Even though it was going to be uncomfortable, even though it was likely a distant walk. She did it anyway. Because she was, even though she was angry, she was hopeful that things were going to get better. Also, I want to point out that in the NIV, it's called, she says, call me Mara, because Mara means bitter. So, Mara Sov, the Queen of the Awoken, is bitter Sov, so that's nice. That's very nice. The Lord has afflicted me, the Almighty has brought misfortune upon me. See, I see the Almighty, and I do think of God, but I also think of the weapon that the Red Legion tried to use to blow up the Traveler and our sun. I find destiny in everything, and I only really play it when I'm on stream anymore. I might have a problem. Maybe. Only slightly though, right? Like only slightly. Only slightly. A good problem. Oh man, like, you left everything behind for something better. It didn't work out, and now you're returning with your tail between your legs. Nothing left. She was unmarried. And usually what would happen when you were married, in this point in time, you were kind of like giving up your life with your family to be with this family. the one you were marrying into. Like, you would move in with them, you would stay with them. Like, that's just kind of how it was. There wasn't a, how are we spending Thanksgiving? Your parents or mine? That's not really how it worked. So Ruth was fully holding to her vows. And if you noticed, Orpah didn't cave until Naomi basically told her, I have nothing left to give you. Please just go. And Orpah went, yeah, you're right. There is nothing left. I'll have a better chance here. And Ruth went, I know my chances aren't great in this new place, but if that's where you're going, I'm going. Naomi was angry. And she had every right to be. See, we tend to think of anger as bad. We tend to think of anger as sin. The feeling of anger itself is not sin. It's what you do with that feeling that can create sin. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to be angry with God. It is okay to, for lack of a better term, let him have it. Because he can take it. He can take it. Like, let's think about this rationally. He is a lot bigger than me. And so this would kind of sort of be like a tiny little mosquito smacking something like a lot bigger. Like this would be a mosquito to a person situation, like probably even smaller than a mosquito. And, you know, I think I'm making headway and like hitting him, and he's just like, yeah, you're not doing much damage. Like those videos of the cats where it's like attack 100, damage 0, because he's doing nothing, but he looks real vicious. God can take that. He actually wants us to bring this stuff to him. He wants us to come to him with our anger, our joy, our sadness, our frustration, our loneliness. He wants us to come to him with everything. He already knows how we're feeling. He already knows what's going on, but that doesn't mean we can't tell him. He wants to hear. He wants to listen. Just like my therapist absolutely knows a lot of the stuff that I've been through. But this week she sat and listened while I talked about some of it for probably the 30th time. Because she knew I just needed to talk about it. And that is what God is willing to do for us. Except he doesn't charge us for a session with him. I mean, unless you count dying to self, or like that gets real complicated. We're not gonna dive into that. Y'all don't need me to dive deep into that. The trouble with nearly everybody who prays is that he says amen and runs away before God has a chance to reply. Listening to God is far more important than giving him our ideas. Frank Laubach. Yeah. We're very quick to end it and run away instead of listening. My therapist reminded me yesterday that as much as I hate being sad, as much as I hate crying, I need to sit with those feelings. I need to let the tears flow. Because not only does that put you on the roadmap towards healing, but it also... Oh, you got him 2 seconds before me. It also gets us better at recognizing these feelings and dealing with them. God wants to hear these feelings. God wants to know what we're thinking. But a relationship isn't a one-way street. You know, it isn't just a we communicate to them and they never say anything back to us. Like, that's not how it works. We have to be willing to listen to our partner. We have to be willing to be there for them, to support them. Because, like, a relationship's not really fun or good if they are just coming at you all the time. It's not really how it's supposed to be. And I mean, my niece graduated daycare. And that sounds a little weird, but she starts kindergarten in September. And she's not going to the same school as the rest of the friends that she has made over her years. She is moving up in the world. She's getting so big. I had a dream last night that she came over with her mom and her sister, and all of a sudden she was like 4 feet tall. She had just exploded in like a week. And I'm like looking at her going, what the heck happened here? She looked so grown up. She's going to a new school and will make new friends. And at first, I mean, we know how those kindergarten friendships are. You just walk up to someone, we're friends now, and that's just how it is, right? But there's also the progression of a friendship. You kind of start as acquaintances, you get to know each other better. That's what God's looking for with us. He wants us to work on it together. He wants us to build it together. And it's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel angry when something goes wrong. I mean, when my car had issues the last time and I didn't really have income, I was angry. And I'm like, God, why did you let this happen? Why didn't you step in? Or, like, how am I going to do this? And he can take it. Naomi was mad. Why did you let them die? Why did you take them from me? There was nothing here. We went where something was supposed to be better, and we lost everything. And now I have to come back to a place that I have left, where I am basically a foreigner. And I have to find out how I'm going to live again. I love the tuckling slightly and then having sparks in the corners of my vision. Right? We love that. We love that so much. Can I, like... No, I cannot. You're a bum. There we go. Nope. Better. Ta-da. This is how I'm doing music right now. It's just easier. It works better for me. Hydrate. I can do that. I can totally do that. I can absolutely do that. Oh, I need to stretch. Naomi returned from Moab accompanied by Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law. Ruth knew she was going to be a foreigner. She knew that her life was about to get harder than it already was as a widow. And yet, if my life gets harder and someone else's life gets easier, I am okay with that. I mean, how many of us have at one time or another thought, I will take that sickness, I will take that ailment, I will take that issue from somebody else if it makes their life easier. Like, my youngest niece has epilepsy. And that kills me. Absolutely kills me. Breaks my heart that this tiny little baby who is 6 months old as of yesterday has epilepsy and will likely have it for the rest of her life. If I could take that from her, I would like that. If I could make Bean's life easier so she could go to school where she wanted with her other friends and not have to start over, I'd do it like that. I've had to start over a few times. We moved around a decent amount. I know what that's like, and my sister does too. And she's been trying to move heaven and earth to get her daughter into the school with the rest of her friends. Also because that school has after school care, and they kind of need that. So it's kind of selfish, but also for the child. She wants to make sure her daughter's taken care of and happy. We are willing to endure pain if somebody else's life is easier. I am part of a couple different, I don't know if you can really call them trials, at the pain clinic, COPI, which stands for Kingston Orthopedic and Pain Institute. Just in case people are wondering, because I know I've said COPI to a few people and they go, wait, what? Where they are testing various treatments on me, and I'm willing to take it on the off chance that it will help, but also because it's going to help them find treatments for people who are dealing with things like me. And I will take that pain if it means I get help and someone else gets it too. I am willing to push through it. I actually had a text say to me last time that, like, she'd seen me wincing, but I wasn't saying ouch or anything. And she said, I don't know how you do it, because she could see on the schedule, you know, I was coming back the next day for something different, and, like, she had already seen me once that week. And I said, I will take it in the moment if it helps in the long term. It's probably what Ruth is thinking. I will take this struggle in the moment if it is going to help in the long term for not only myself, but my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law, who no longer has family and just needs someone who will sit with her. Like the same way Job's friends sat with him before they opened their mouths. When he was hurting, they just sat there with him. No talking, nothing required, just sat there with them. So, I mean, here is my level up challenge for you guys. Is there someone in your life who could use a Ruth? Someone who could use that listening ear, that loving presence, that little bit of love. Is there someone in your life that could use that? And I challenge you to love on them in one way or another in this next week. I mean, I can think of a bunch of people in my life that are going through stuff right now, and that makes me really sad. Like, really sad. I've said before, it might suck when my life gets really hard, but what makes me angry is when bad things start happening to those around me. See, that just makes me angry. It makes me want to pick up a sword and shield. It just makes me want to go to battle. Because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be absolutely dumped on. And I don't want the people around me to feel like that. Ruth knew what it was like to lose a husband, which helped her understand what her mother-in-law was going through. I mean, she didn't have kids, so she didn't know that aspect of it, but she could imagine that was difficult. My word. One moment, please. Yes, that is exactly who was calling me. How did you know? No, that was actually a call from the clinic with another appointment. No. Better put that in there before I forget. There we go. It's in there now. Woo! Well, it's nothing bad. It's just routine. Every so often, they just double check that, you know, things aren't too much worse. But yeah, my challenge is, if you have a Naomi in your life, how can you be their Ruth? Something very simple. Yes, they have to make sure I haven't imploded. That's exactly what it is. They have to make sure that the ticking time bomb inside me hasn't gone off. I mean, I think there's a few of them in there now. I think I have multiple time bombs. I don't know. They keep multiplying. That's the word I'm looking for. How can you be a Ruth? Now, there's a song that made me think, or that I thought of when I was reading this. I'm going to put it. They keep multiplying, you and my family visit. Quote marks around family. I mean, that's funny, but it's also sad. Let's find it. It's not exactly what I'm looking for. Except it's gonna start playing. Nope. I don't want to get in trouble for that one. Not getting in trouble for that. So, there we go. It has been posted in our Discord. So, yeah. It's terrifying. It's supposed to start muted when I do that, but no. Oh well. So, yeah, it is in our going live section. And it's a really good song, okay? I was reading through this chapter, and I'm thinking of this song because of the message of it. Basically, the entirety of the song is that if you are going through hell, if you are going through a fight for your life, I will go to war with you. I will go to war beside you. I will pick up my sword and shield. I will fight with you. So that way you don't have to be alone. I will be your army. And I mean, here's the thing. God also says that to us, all right? He also says, if you are going through it, if you are struggling, I will fight with you. But here's the thing. Even though he knows what we're thinking, you should still ask. I mean, I know that Harley always wants food. I know that. Because that's just Harley. But he has a very specific way of asking for it when it's mealtime. More or less, he just sits right in front of you, stares straight into your eyes, and starts drooling. So I know he wants food, but I wait for him to ask. I know he's always thinking about food. Always. He's a lab. That stomach is just always running on empty. It has to be filled more every single time. So if you don't have anybody in your life that is a Naomi, maybe you're the Naomi. So, I guess that would be the second challenge. Ask God to be your Ruth. Ask God to be that person that will walk there beside you, who will come alongside you, who will fight with you, who will be there for you, who will support you, who will just listen when you need it. Ask. Sometimes it's as simple as just asking. Because, I mean, if you expect somebody to do things, that's just... it's not as meaningful when they show up and help, right? Don't be ruthless. That's true. Don't be ruthless. Because that's just... it's sad if you're ruthless, right? Like, we don't want you to be ruthless. We want you to be ruthful. Is that a thing? Is ruthful a thing? I don't know. But there was also... oh, of course you're going to make me do this all over again. So, I enjoyed this little extra piece, but it also made me mad. It was not forbidden for Israelites to have Moabite wives. However, Deuteronomy would prohibit the male descendants access to the temple. So if they had a son, the son wouldn't be able to go to the temple. The irony, and that's the beginning of what bothers me here, is that an heir and an ancestor of the great King David would come through one of these foreigners. I don't like the wording in that final sentence. But yeah. Like, if we wanted to look at the lineage of King David, there's some pretty interesting people in there. Like, we've got a foreigner. We've got Rahab, a woman of the night. Like, we've got all these people, and let's not forget that King David's lineage led to Christ. So not only does David have all these people in his lineage, so does Christ. He came through all of the hurt, all of the pain, all of the shame, sin, hurt. He came through all of it. He can use it. He can use it. He can take the pain, the suffering, all of it, and he can use it. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be here. If not for all of the pain and the hurt, I wouldn't have been unemployed when I came back to Graphic Word, which would have kept me from volunteering last summer, starting streaming, and becoming on staff. If not for all the pain and the hurt, I wouldn't be here with you guys right now. So there's no doubt in my mind he can use it. We don't always see it right away. We don't always see all of it. But it does happen. It does get used. Maybe not in your lifetime, my lifetime, which may be shorter than your lifetime. I don't know. But he can use it. Because, like, he used Naomi's pain to bring them home so that they could continue the line of King David. Not in their lifetime, but it was used. That's the really cool thing. It's... how many of you guys know what kintsugi is? Slightly niche question. Because I feel like I mentioned this last year when we were talking about James. I might be wrong. Hashtag gold. So, Okay, both of y'all do. Awesome. My only two commenters seem to know what kintsugi is. So, it's actually really, really cool. It actually means golden joinery or golden repair. It's the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery by mending the areas of breakage with gold. Yeah, I got him onto it. He got me onto Damascus steel. I got him onto kintsugi. So they can repair it, and like as you can see, the stuff ends up looking pretty cool. Now here's the thing. A lot of times the kintsugi is done on purpose. The smashing will be done on purpose so that it can be repaired with gold. It's something about the light and the cracks and just the beauty from it. And last time I received another diagnosis, I remember, I don't know if I can call it praying because there was some language involved where I said to God, am I not broken enough yet? Because I was starting to feel like all that was left of me was the gold. And I mean, it's not a horrible thing, but it takes a lot of breaking for this entire thing to end up being gold. Okay? Like, that would be a lot of breaking, a lot of smashed with a hammer, a lot of all of it. Show me pictures. Pick. Thank you. Like, it's pretty beautiful, right? And I mean, in my opinion, I could be wrong, the more gold in the piece, the more beautiful it is. My opinion. But like, flowers, life coming out of the cracks, the art of embracing imperfections. I actually would love to try this at some point. First, I have to learn how to do pottery. Because I can tell you right now, when I attempted to put back together a cup of mine that broke when I was a youth pastor, it did not go well. It was no longer usable. Let me just say that. I used hot glue. It was not a great idea. There we go. See? That was how I was feeling. Mostly gold, very little left. And we've talked before about, it was what we were going through Psalms, about God being so visible in us that it's impossible to deny, it's impossible to reject that he is present in your life. Like, you cannot look at this and go, oh yeah, there's no gold there. You just can't. It is obvious that the gold is present. The very little bits that you can see, that's what's left of you. Now, I have to imagine that being the pottery piece that is being broken probably doesn't feel great. It's probably good that they're not living creatures, because definitely don't try to kintsugi a cat, okay? Just don't. First off, you will end up with a bunch of cracks and scratches, and they will not enjoy it. You will have an enemy for life. I know what it's like to feel broken, to feel knocked down, to feel like there's very little left of you. Kintsugi turtle. There's lots of tattoos of it. But like, as you can see, there's this little statue that was made of it. You've got tattoos like this. where it's been broken apart, put back together. So, I mean, you can use the kintsugi technique on a turtle shell, actually. Hey! Ooh, that's really pretty. We are, at the moment, talking about kintsugi and being broken. We are going through the book of Ruth right now. And Solomon brought up a good point. A turtle shell being broken is actually repaired with kintsugi techniques. That hadn't occurred to me. Yeah. Snail shells with kintsugi. I mean, there's a cat that's been kintsugi'd, but like I said before, I do not recommend kintsugiing a cat. All right? However, next time I have a broken bone, which I might already have one, we don't know yet. I'm gonna ask that they kintsugi the bone. Do you think that they can do that? Do you think they can kintsugi a bone? No Kara crafts. No crafts on Kara. I actually do have plans to do crafts with Kara this summer. Maybe that's how I'll ask them to fix my spine. First introduction with the surgeon. Is there any chance that you guys could kintsugi it better? I don't think so. I think it's too far gone from that. In order to kintsugi something, you have to have pieces. I have dust. That is what I have. I don't think there's enough gold to kintsugi dust. But yeah, okay. No, let's do it this one. So here's the thing. If I remember correctly, it's only 6 steps, as you can see. But yes, there is the breaking. I am in the office, however, I'm on the opposite side. No, thank you. You break it, and then you start putting it back together. You reassemble it, you repair it, and then you reveal the cracks, sublimate it. See, right? Something unforeseen happens, a wrong move, a shock, and everything falls apart. Clear your mind and pick up the pieces. Make the choice to give the object a second chance rather than throwing it away. Oh, she's at camp right now. Consider the different methods of repair and choose the one that suits you best. Be creative and dare to think differently. So, see the broken. That's kind of what happened, Solomon. Except it did it itself. It kintsugi'd itself. It looked like this. This is what it looked like after it fought back Gong and won, okay? This is what it looked like. And it was like this for the longest time. And then it came back like this. See, now kintsugi doesn't just use gold. It also uses silver. So this is what you would call, according to this one, the invisible repair, or the illusionist method. Except we watched it happen. Like there was an actual There's an actual video, like multiple videos that you can go and look up of when the traveler heals itself. And you can see he's healing. And you can see some of the cracks coming back together. It's incredibly impressive. That's exactly how it worked. It mirrors the moment in life when you break emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You feel shattered, like you're lying in pieces on the floor with no way forward. In these moments of despair, the Kintsugi spirit offers a glimpse of hope. Even though you're broken now, you may one day be golden. Choosing not to throw yourself away, but to believe you are worth repairing. Naomi's ready to throw herself away. Except here's the thing. Ruth believes she is worth repairing, that she has a chance to heal. And this is what's going on here. Ruth is helping her. She has recognized the break in both of them. And she's going, we have a better chance at healing if we do this together. So like there's a huge process to this. So how long does it take? It varies depending on the complexity. Object must dry for several days before being sanded. Multiple layers of lacquer and metal are applied. Each one must dry for multiple days before the next one is added. It can take anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. Even more than a year. Everyone heals at different paces. It depends on the break. It depends on the person. Let go and let gold. Which is just like let go, let God. Layering strength. Like this. I'm serious. I have been considering. I talked to Ricky Ann about the fact that our Destiny Cafe was like boss, and I've had requests for another one. Except we're not going to do a Destiny Cafe. It will be an event. It will just be a random Destiny event. I've been considering doing some extra random events here and there that don't necessarily make cafes, but could be fun experiences for people. And one of the ones that I have been thinking of is pottery and kintsugi. That is one of the ones that I've been thinking of, where either we make the things ourselves or we bring something in to destroy. We will likely have a Vanguard dance party. I feel like that could be fun. So I've been considering us doing this. Like, it could be a fun experience. Like, I've even suggested things like Jelly Ball for experience events outside of cafes. Right? Like, events where we can come together as a fire team, learn something new together, try something new together, maybe fail hilariously, but have fun doing it. Another way to, get us out of our mother's basements so we can touch grass and socialize. Because we've been considering events like this for a while and we want to call them touch grass. Ruth knew that they could heal. She knew it would take time. But she knew that her mother-in-law had the best chance of healing if she wasn't going through it alone. If she was with somebody else who understood at least parts of her pain. So, Ruth is now a foreigner, which is something her mother-in-law has been before. Ruth is a widower, or a widow, just like her mother-in-law. Ruth is starting over from scratch, just like her mother-in-law. They are able to lean on each other. I mean, Ruth was probably thinking of her mother-in-law, but she was also probably thinking of herself. Going, this is my best chance of healing if I have somebody else who gets it. And the only other person who gets it is my mother-in-law. family isn't necessarily blood. I know a lot of people say family is blood. Blah, blah, blah. I think family is more than just blood. I fully believe that you can have family that isn't blood relations. So like my dad's family is actually sort of funny. I've got a few aunts and uncles that I didn't know until I was an adult weren't actually aunts and uncles. They were family friends who had been there for so long that they became aunt and uncle. Just like Ark's kids call me Aunt Pilo. Just like my best friend's son. We talked about it. I confirmed with her that it was okay, but he is my nephew and I am auntie. She's an only child, right? And I love on this kid like nobody else. Like, Well, I mean, her mom dotes on this kid quite a bit too. Apollo is adorable. And we're celebrating his birthday in the next little bit, and I ordered his gift today, and I'm so excited. Family doesn't have to be blood, and Ruth recognized that. Naomi thought that blood would be better, would be easier for these girls, but Ruth went, nah, I don't need that. I don't need that. I need you. Where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. Your people are my people, your God, my God. Where you die, I'll die. Death can't separate us. Which, I mean, if you really think about that, kind of sounds like marriage vows. Just gonna be completely honest, kind of sounds like marriage vows. But they're not. However, like I said before, in Old Testament times, when you would make a marriage vow, you were often giving up your entire family. You were saying, yeah, done over here, I'm over here now. Men, on the other hand, got to stay with their families, but whatever. That's its own thing with my own opinions about it. So we're not going to go there. Ruth was keeping her vow. She was walking her talk, which we talked about last year with James. We talked about the importance of walking our talk. Ruth had made these vows, she had made these promises, and things got tough, and she kept them anyway. Now, this is nothing against Orpah. Absolutely nothing against her. She lost everything too. And she didn't want to leave everything she had ever known. She was willing to go. She was willing to go with Naomi. But when Naomi told her it was okay for her to leave, actually encouraged her to, twice, she said, okay. If this is really what you want from me, I'll do it. She was respecting her elders. Yeah. We don't know how long they were in Moab, really. We know that there was 10 years after her husband died. We don't know how old the kids were when they moved there. It does, state that they all left together. So obviously, the kids were born. But we don't know for sure how long they were gone. And they still received a welcome. She was still recognized when she returned home. She was still recognized when she went home. No different than the prodigal son. Not that that's what was happening here. But she was still recognized when she went home. I mean, as soon as I walk through the front door, I'm going to be recognized and greeted by two fluffy creatures. Every time I come home. Doesn't matter how many times I leave. Every time I come home, they will recognize me. They will be happy and excited to see me. Now, Kara, she's not necessarily going to come to the door and see me. She'll lift her head, look at me, and go, and then roll over. But she has recognized me and acknowledged me. So I'm not overly upset about that. It hurts a little bit, I won't lie. But I'll forgive her. I'll forgive her. Oof. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to run to the bathroom very quickly, and then we are going to do some questions and prayer requests. I gave myself the window of 2 to 4:30 just to cover the bases, because I remember last year with James, we usually ended up going longer than we'd planned, and I didn't want that to happen this time. So I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'll leave you guys down near the bottom here. Okay, I will be back in uno momente, por favor. Yes, I spoke that horribly on purpose. Solomon's about to need a fire extinguisher because his pants are on fire. Goodness gracious. Thank you. That was not 10 minutes. Ha! For those of you who don't know, this is a new building, or rather the second half of our building. And let me paint you a picture. Streaming office is here. Bathroom is here. And it's like currently a maze to get through, to get back to the bathroom. And then there was no paper towel, so I had to go hunting for that. So that was fun. There's paper towel now. But this is the part of the show where Pilo comes out and asks if anybody has any questions about what we talked about today. Does anybody have any questions about Ruth, Naomi, Kintsugi, grief, anger, any of it? Does anybody have any questions? I will not take questions about, can we Kintsugi teeth? Let's find out if you can Kintsugi bone. Yes. Except you can't do it on a bone that's being used. Same with the Canadian. So yeah, you fully can. Except after the fact, not when it's still in your body. Okay? Because otherwise, I'd be asking them to do this. They won't know. I have a feeling they're gonna know. I would love to do a pottery class. I mean, I'm not condoning, but I have heard of people mixing cremated ashes into clay and creating sculptures. I've heard quite a bit about that. I'm not saying you should, I'm not saying you shouldn't, I'm just saying I've heard that it is possible to do so. So, and I mean, was your mom cremated? We're not going there, I'm sorry. Oops. See, that's the thing. That's kind of what I liked about this, was that you could create a sculpture or a vase or something, right? Like I saw one where it was their parent loved a specific type of flower. So they had them sculpted into a vase with some of the ashes. And then every week we're putting that favorite flower in the vase because it was something that parent had loved. It's similar to the idea of what Spanish culture does for Dia de los Muertos, except instead of going to the grave, you've got something pretty much right inside your home. That's not in a closet up on a shelf. Yeah. That may or may not be where my grandpa's ashes are stored. In a closet on the top shelf. Which has led to so many jokes of, we always knew grandpa was in the closet. My family handles things differently, okay? We are a special breed. And I feel like we're gonna get up to heaven only to be smacked with a naughty stick about 300 times a piece. Going, no, 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 no. I feel like that's what will happen to us. I said they gotta earn it. Okay, that's horrible. Also very funny, but horrible. However, I do like the idea of me either being, I want to donate my body to science. I have a feeling that science will donate it to Goodwill. That's what I would like to do. But afterwards, they cremate you. Turn me into an urn. Or not an urn, a vase. Turn me into a coffee mug. Like, turn me into all sorts of cool stuff. Use up all the ashes on all the fun things. Like, turn me into the coolest coffee cup in existence. Turn me into a pen. Turn me into dishware. And, like, you could do all sorts of things. I heard you don't get that much ash from people. You don't. But you don't need a whole lot of ash to be mixed into the clay. So you could use like a teaspoon and then go, haha, Pilo's in that. My mom told me to stop making sandcastles with my dad, then took the urn away from me. Here's the question. Was it kinetic sand or standard sand? Oh my word. Bad, Pilo. Bad. We need a naughty stick in here. Bad, Pilo. As long as you don't pull a Cartman and eat the ashes, thinking it's chocolate milk mix. Goodness gracious, that was a real weird character arc. Anywho, anybody got any other question? That's why my Cadbury's tasted weird. Yep. That's exactly it. It's not at all because they completely changed the recipe. Not at all. Anybody got any more questions? Next time I'm just going to call her Bitter Sov. Does anybody have any prayer requests? So, like, we did pretty much half an hour of maybe 40 minutes of Bible study, and then the rest just became a really weird tangent stream. Awesome! Any prayer requests? I know I'm going to be praying that the heat breaks here, there, everywhere. You know how when soup gets really hot, you blow on it? I'm going to pray that God blows on the earth and cools it down a little bit. I may have to travel to England next week, so prayers for my soul, please, as I descend to hell. Ooh. For my workies and for my travel worries as well. Everybody's traveling, and the most traveling I do is, like, Walmart or here. So, like, you guys have fun. I'm very, very jealous, you know? But you guys are fun to hang out with. So we will be praying for travel. We'll be praying for the heat. I had to explain to Solomon what a humidex was. He thought it was like a Pokédex. Because it was 30 degrees in the shade this morning. Or I guess like midday when I left. So there was that. Which was fantastic. So I'll be praying that fades. I'll be praying for medical relief for all of us. I hope the trains are air conditioned, or that it's going fast enough that if you open the window, it cools it down. Because that's kind of what I do with my car when I get in the car and I have to go somewhere and it's like stupidly hot. I roll down the window a little bit while I'm going, and it takes out most of the hot air. I wish Humidex was a Pokedex, right? I mean, it kind of sounds like a Pokemon, but that's just me. So I'll be praying for all of that, for the traveling, for our bodies to behave while we travel. Watch out for bridges and tunnels. You might lose a few inches. Or a couple feet. Although I don't blame you. At one point, this vehicle we had, the air conditioning wasn't working, and my sister kept complaining that it was really hot, and so my dad, mostly jokingly, offered that he could bungee strap her to the roof. Only meaning to light at the end of the tunnel. It would. It really, really, really would. Absolutely. Hands down. Hands down. Alright. Alright, let's pray. God, thank you for the fun conversations today. Thank you that we were able to get silly as we talk about the hard stuff. We were able to be serious, but we were also able to bring some light into it, some cool insights. Thank you that I was able to travel here, and I pray that you be with all of us as we travel throughout this season. I pray that you blow on the earth a little bit, bring the heat down just a tad, especially for those of us with health conditions. We really don't need it to get any hotter, or at the very least, help us not feel the heat, help it not affect us, make us immune. I ask that you be with Solomon as he travels into England, that you would protect him from multiple things and be with him on this trip, and that the windows on the train open so that Solomon does not see the light at the end of the tunnel. I pray that you would be with Daya as she continues to search for work, that the right thing would fall into her lap at the right time, and that you would continue to provide while we wait for that time, as well as her travels that are coming up, and the anxiety that comes with traveling when you have health conditions. So I pray that you'd be watching over all of us, and I pray that you would point out the people in our lives who need a Ruth, the people in our lives who just need someone right now. And I pray that you would remind us when we are struggling that you will be our Ruth, you will be our army, you will go to war for us. And I pray that everybody would have an awesome remainder of their day, and that you'd give us a little bit of creativity in everything we do, that you'd just sprinkle it through. In your name we pray. Amen. Of course, I open my eyes and the first thing I see is, thankfully, the cancer has made me skinny enough to pancake on the train. Well, glad to see you're finding the positives, sir. Goodness gracious. Mercy sacks believe. That was not what I expected to see. So, you guys have Daya in a few hours. Woo! Not sure what you guys are going to be doing, but I'm sure it'll be entertaining at the very least. I hope Solomon gets some sleep tonight. I will be back on Friday. Not 100% sure what game we're playing, but we're going to be talking about anger. We've got a couple options. It could be really fun, because the one game I've never actually tried before. So this will be entertaining. I got a diet stream to troll. I mean, give subs too. Oh dear. The chaos continues, but a graphic word, that is our specialty. 2 scoops of chaos in every stream. Man, I'm old. That's the reference that pops into mind. I am harder to troll than others. A lot harder to troll than Ark or Tom. They're very easy to troll. We are not as easy to troll. However, the 6-7 thing just... Yeah. We get used to it. I mean, when you live lives like ours, you get used to trolling because you wonder if God is just trolling you with the things going on in your life. You know? But I am going to finish up here and get ready to go home. Normally, or at least the plan is for the next little while, that I would be staying after stream. But I am the only one at home this week, and Pupper needs to have his meds by 5. And I don't want him to be in any more pain than he already is. So we're going to make sure he gets his meds. And Kara's going to get hers too. I'd say whether she likes them or not, but she likes them. So if you guys don't mind praying for Harley and a little bit of relief this week, that would be awesome. Don't forget to spay and neuter your pets too. Yeah. Let's go back here. Come hither. So I will see you guys on Friday. We are gonna have so much fun doing whatever it is we do. I don't know. We've got a few options, but you guys are awesome. I will see you later, and I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, because you are awesome. You deserve it. And I need a safety fence around that stupid sticker. That's how I feel about it. Anyway, I love you all. I will see you later, and you will likely get Kara photos later. So have an awesome rest of your week, and I'll see you in less than 48 hours.